Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Rhyme of the Times for the weekend in 21st of February 2026. Farage vindicated as local elections are reinstated. 2 Brits incarcerated as Iran has something to be negotiated. Andrew humiliated as for 11 hours he's interrogated and will be investigated unabated. Supreme Court excoriated by Trump as he's frustrated at his tariffs being terminated. This government was elected on a changed ticket, but it's often found itself on a sticky wicket. With infighting and scandals and U-turns galore, it's been hard to distinguish them from what came before. Not so much a revolution, just a lot of U-turns, and a U-turn number 15 raised big concerns. Last December the government caused some ruptures. They had planned to overhaul council structures, and in order to do so the idea that was hatched was to have 30 local elections scratched. Not deleted completely, but a 1-year delay to 2027 in the month of May. It was Reform UK led by Nigel Farage who had raised the matter and led the charge. He made a legal challenge and now he's won. Labour has to pay his legal fees, a 6-figure sum. And on Tuesday he, of course, was on his high horse boasting how he'd forced Labour's change of course, saying legal advice had made them cave, and so British democracy had been saved, decrying the way the government had behaved and courting the adulation he craved. Starmer claimed, given how much money's involved, voting for a council that would soon be dissolved is not money well spent when the country's broke. Besides, local elections don't interest many folk. It seems it never rains, but just pours for poor Keir, or he's just poor at raining, or so it appears. Lindsay and Craig Foreman are a British twosome who've wound up in a fix in Iran that's quite gruesome. On a round-the-world motorbike ride of a lifetime, they're now banged up in Tehran in search of a lifeline. It was early last year when they were detained, and for 13 months in detention they've remained. Then on Thursday the 2 of them were brought to the Tehran Revolutionary Court, and there they were found guilty of being spies. It's safe to say it's likely those claims are lies. The ship of fairness and justice has long sailed, and they were sentenced to spend a decade in jail, with all the terrifying horror that entails. Britain's played the political game to no avail. A year of diplomatic efforts have failed, but they have to continue until they prevail. This, after all, is not about espionage. It's about Iran using some trumped-up charge against 2 British pawns for some greater scheme, a common playbook theme for this extreme regime. The news on Thursday that was being digested may have, for some, initially suggested a requirement to have their eyes and ears tested. So gobsmacking was it, though some may have guessed it, given the man concerned is widely detested. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor had been arrested. His 66th birthday, but no happy returns, just his precipitous fall from grace confirmed. At 8 a.m, an 8 a.m. knock at his Sandringham door, and a visit from a group of His Majesty's Law. Suddenly the British public was all abuzz, and soon all his domiciles swarmed with the fuzz. Documents, emails, photos, diaries. Charles has pledged to help police with their inquiries. The bobbies made their move as no more doubt lingered. They had to have the former prince fingered, and fingerprints and a mugshot have to be taken before he was slung in the slammer shook up and shaken. The eighth in line to accede to the throne languished in a cell without his cell phone. Suddenly, with just his thoughts on his own, and those thoughts unknown to him alone. The police were very keen to have a talk with the artist once known as the Duke of York. It seems that vermin has emerged from the ermine, which this whole episode is now confirming. Royalists find themselves uneasily squirming. Such negative headlines are very concerning, while Republicans see the tide may be turning. For such a story, for years they've been yearning. The lessons they preach now everyone's learning. The royals are sponging more than they're earning. Is the House of Windsor crashing and burning? What happens in the next few years may determine. For now, Andrew's been released from the cop shop, but investigations anytime soon won't stop. Charles said, of course, the law must take its course, but he's not able to force his brother's remorse. And like his cancer that's not gone away, his baby bro's business haunts him each day. While Andy had 11 hours to fill responding to allegations from the bill, the king carried on with his scheduled appointments in accordance with his royal anointment. But the wrath of angry hecklers was incurred by the very presence of King Charles III. Liberation Day last year was a Donald Trump thing. A tariff world war launched in the height of spring, but on Friday the Supreme Court ruled it was unlawful. So Trump lambasted the lawyers, something awful. 6-3 against the import taxes was the score, while Trump praised effusively the 3 who voted for. Into the 6 opposers, Trump viciously tore. He announced a new 10% tariff and swore he'd use other laws to keep up his tariff war.